Well, it's that time of the year again when you just want to cozy up with your favorite Bethesda game. For me, that's Fallout 3, and it's been years since I've played it, so I was feeling pretty excited to revisit the Wasteland. Only this time I thought, what if I played it as an extraction shooter? No, I don't just mean modding it to hell to make it feel like Escape from Tarkov, but really homebrewing some of the rules and gameplay mechanics we'd expect to see from games like it. I'm talking writing a script for a random quest generator, whipping up some main quest line to follow, and really focusing on role playing. I want to breathe new life into a game that I've put well over 1,000 hours in, and see if I can also capture the same adrenaline and extraction looter provides. With all these guidelines roughly in place, I set out on creating a core set of rules to try and recreate these gameplay loops, while most importantly leaning heavily on Fallout 3's best feature, its emergent gameplay. So what are the rules for this mode? In the spirit of extraction shooters, I'll be treating the main towns as a singular connected hub as I unlock them. To start, I can only enter the Wasteland from Megaton, and anytime I do step foot into the world, a new raid begins. A raid does not end until I make it to an extraction point, which is a randomly generated point on the map each time a new raid begins. If I make it to my extraction, I fast travel back to town and the raid was a success. I can turn in any of the randomly generated tasks I completed, vanilla quests, and of course, keep all the loot I found. However, if I die, then I have to reload the save made just before the start of the raid and delete my entire inventory. This is obviously going to be a very heavy roleplay run, so I'll have to be keeping track of various things and really force myself to adhere to the rules, which won't be a problem. Other details like mods and some finer points we'll just address as they come up. After a few hours of writing a random task generator script, thinking of these rules and deciding how much modding I want to do, it was finally time to give it all a test and see if it's even any fun. Using a quick start mod, I skip the vault, make a solid build while naming myself something appropriate for the occasion, and flashbang into existence. I don't want to get exploration XP and need the map markers for easier quest tracking, so I unlock them all through the console. Since we didn't come from a vault, we don't get any of this loot. We're starting from zero. Maybe we were a part of a group that betrayed, stripped us, and left us for dead. Don't know. Since extraction shooters always have some starting gear for you, once I'm in Megaton, I decide to treat myself to some shopping with 50 caps. I don't intend to use the armored vault suit, instead sticking with what gear my caps could buy. Quite a fitting Wastelander set if I do say so myself. Ready to go on my first raid, I generate 3 easy tasks. If you're wondering why the script looks different, it went through a few iterations. For now, 3 tasks seems fair. I figure I'll allow more and unlock higher difficulties as I level up. My primary focus will be these tasks and the eventual main quest I make, so testing the XP progression is needed right now. Looks like my safest extraction point is likely K17, so I make note of it now and plan my route. Remembering there's easy loot from silver, I want to see if it ruins the early game economy too much. The same goes for the sniper stash behind Megaton. But it's important to remember that now I have to safely extract with this stuff or it's all gone and wasted. A quick note on mods. For now I want to test if this is even a fun idea on a mostly vanilla game. I'm utilizing several batch files that handle repeatable functions like completing tasks, dying, limiting my weight, and also running mods that add basic needs, backpacks, only a few of the performance enhancers, which doesn't help anyways. Fallout 3 just likes to stutter on modern hardware, and one that increases spawns by up to 5 times. I chose to play on normal since I don't want to deal with bullet sponges for this idea, but since I'm used to the highest difficulties, I was worried it might be too easy and thought the increased spawns would be interesting to test. Well, it certainly was something. Once I realized there were herds of dogs and mole rats spawning, I cautiously tried picking off what I could. I need their meat for caps, but I don't want to waste what little supplies I have. Being so vulnerable has me taking it slower than normal. If I got surrounded by 5 mole rats or dogs, I'd probably die already. After clearing the immediate area, a red rocket catches my eye to the south. To my surprise, the first random encounter I get is with 2 Talon Company mercs killing a Brahmin and fighting an Eyebot. Desperately wanting their loot, I engage in some sloppy Dark Souls PvP roleplay, while a mole rat joins in to help. Managing to overcome the encounter with little supplies wasted and about half HP, I'm feeling great about my chances with this new loadout. Continuing south, mere moments later, I run into 5 raiders that instantly open fire on me. Well, with my newfound gear and thinking, it's only normal, I figure this shouldn't be a problem. I work on splitting them up, but I cannot kill them fast enough before they end up converging on me. After 2 embarrassing pulse grenades and using more supplies than I'd like, I was victorious. It's hard enough managing inventory under normal circumstances in a Bethesda game. But here, I'm definitely getting that Tarkov FOMO of absolutely min-maxing my space. These are caps I'm just leaving on the floor, and I can already tell I'm gonna desperately need more ammo and medical supplies if this is gonna work. So I repair what I can, fill my bag full, and continue towards my extraction. I can't even think about my random tasks or the vanilla quests. Right now, I just need to survive and get some stash value going. 15 more seconds to the south, I hear multiple gunshots and see 8 more raiders in the distance blocking my path. There's no way I can handle that with what I have, so I plan on skirting around them. All was going well until I realized I didn't scout my left side and another group of at least 5 raiders opened fire on me. Now I'm panicking. This isn't a good engagement area, and I'm about to have a gaggle of raiders rain hell onto me. So I try to run through, aggroing both groups and cutting down an alley. Oh hey, there's a beggar here. Good fucking luck, buddy. Sure enough, I run into another group of raiders that open fire on me. With the dozen already in tow, this has to be about 16 raiders actively chasing me. Now I'm in an even worse position out in the open. I have no choice but to use my precious health supplies as I beeline for a narrow escape. Managing to break aggro, I'm determined to get the hell out with this loot, and I'm not far away from the extract. In the home stretch, I can see a pack of dogs murdering some mole rats in the distance, and I'm just gonna nope out of there. But, of course, some extract camping raiders are in my path. I take the longest way around that I can, all the way to the map boundaries, and somehow manage to get the hell out of there. Back in Megaton, I start evaluating that first experience while selling off my spoils. But before I can come to a conclusion, I'm seeing even with the 400 caps from silver, I really can't afford much. Sure, I end up with 8 stim packs and some 5.56 rounds. There's no way this is near enough firepower to deal with what I'm seeing out there. Like on this follow-up raid, I went out to do my random task of clearing the Grey Ditch sewers. Dealing with the fire ants is always a pain, especially when trying to conserve ammo, but those sewers were ridiculous. Not only did I forget I had on a deadly radiation mod, but there were so many ghouls in there that I wouldn't have stood a chance without that missile launcher in the lockbox. It didn't even matter anyways. As soon as I left, I had a welcoming party of about 9 ghouls waiting for me. It must have been like a scripted spawn that got boosted by the density mod. I don't know. Try as I might, I fell to the Wasteland, losing all my hard-earned gear from the previous raids. Immediately I'm noticing that the way I'm handling death could very easily spiral into not just no progress, but actually negative progress. An extraction shooter, at the very least, lets you keep the experience you earn during the raid. There's also the secure container and the insurance mechanic as well, but I'll need to play more to see if they're even necessary for this. Plus, by just reloading the save, I could go farm the same spot and kind of cheat myself into repeating similar loops over and over again until something finally works. So I'm going to keep these things in mind and brainstorm better solutions, but for now it's best to just keep playtesting and forming a more informed conclusion. Anyways, for this next raid, I had absolutely nothing, so the goal was to farm what I could and just try to get the hell out of there. I'm also noticing that I accidentally left every map quadrant in the script. For now I leave it, but I'll need to change it later so the extracts can only be close to the map edges. Curious to see if there's an encounter at the Super Duper Mart, I immediately regret that decision as I aggro what looks like over a dozen raiders. I don't know what event this was or what they were doing, but yeah, that's a lot. At first I try waiting them out to see if I can break sight. When that fails, I figure fuck it, I'm dead again. But no, I really should try to run away and just see what happens. Well, this is what happens. Clearly I need to get this army of crab people to do my bidding, right? So I try to instigate a fight between them and the raiders. While the Mirelurks are tearing the raiders asunder, a group of hunters walk up and just open fire. Sweet, now I have some and they're gone. Luckily, it's easy to escape the Mirelurks, go back and pillage the bodies. Overall, that entire encounter was something else. Can't say I've ever gone through one like it, and I'm here for it. While heading for extract, I come across an outcast fighting for his life against a group of mole rats. Clearly, all I could do was look on in pure horror. I was terrified to find I had to figure out a way to carry all his loot back with me. Broke my heart. At least he had the decency to die near my G14 extract. A short walk from his corpse and I'm out of here. Back in town, I take care of your standard upkeep, playing inventory Tetris and selling what I could, but I also need to save some items in the suitcase at Craterside Supply so I have something to fall back on. For the next raid, all I could scrape together was about 30 rounds of ammo for my guns and one stim pack. At least I had some leather armor though. My extract is actually pretty close again over at M10, so I head there first and figure I'll decide what to do from there. On the way, I take care of some mole rats, a couple of raiders, and outrun a gang of Mirelurks. Pretty easy. Once I'm next to M10, I remember I have a task to clear the scrapyard, which is just north of my position. Nice. Time to finally complete a task. After being ambushed and chased around by a gang of raiders, I foolishly think maybe I can round them all up for a grenade kill and go back to fight. Yeah, it just doesn't work out that way and things go bad quick. It's now a full-on fight with what seems like two parties chasing me around, but through a lot of kiting, all of my grenades, my aid, and most of my ammo, I managed to live through it. The problem is that fight really cost me. Even after looting their bodies, I simply do not have the supplies to continue. I need to extract, but there's still raiders there. I have no choice but to try and fight. I could try to scavenge some supplies somewhere, but I'll undoubtedly end up in even more encounters, only now further away from my way home. So, I repair what I can, check my inventory, and prepare for a blaze of glory. And finally, with that death, it's time to disable the increased spawn mod. It seems like a really fun addition under different circumstances, but it's preventing me from really testing my campaign out. So let's just repeat that last run and make sure spawns are normal again. With everything looking good, I'm actually able to walk around for more than 20 seconds without being jumped by groups of enemies. At last, I get some much needed progress in killing bad guys and searching through the rubble. In the scrapyard, I know I'll run into Dogmeat and a group of raiders, but mostly I want to make sure it's clear to complete my task. After helping Dogmeat out, I sent him home to safety like a good boy. With nighttime fast approaching, I make my way to M10 for that extract, running into some of the same groups of raiders as before, only this time in a much more manageable number. Still, it was a good enough challenge, and I went through plenty of my supplies surviving it. A bloatfly near the extract keeps me from fast traveling, so I swat it down and I'm out of there. Once I'm back, I can finally mark a task complete in my script and reward myself with my batch files. I'm already seeing I should simplify rewards to even numbers, as right now it's on a curve based on a few different factors, but I'll do that later when I make other changes to the script. I gain some caps, experience, level up, and generate my next extracts with a new task. During my usual shopping run, even with my task reward, I'm simply not making enough caps to cover the cost of these raids, but I'll continue to test more since I don't want it to be too easy. A major hook is having to work up to the good weapons with excess ammo and meds. Preserving that loop is important in capturing the feel I'm going for. Before leaving Craterside, I remember I have a task for 2 railway spikes, which I found on the previous raid, so I complete that and gain another level. I use those caps to score some mentats and disarm the bomb. Now I have a real home. Before heading out, I reload the game with a higher vendor price mod to really get an idea for the kind of economy I'd like. Out in the waste, I make a quick stop at this modded backpack shop near Springvale to buy a bigger one. Next, I'm going to go clear the concrete treehouse, which is just to the south. With my extract on Tenpenny Tower, I figure I'll head there too and get inside. Right now, I'm thinking medium and hard tasks will unlock by visiting Tenpenny and Rivet City, so this all works out. En route to the treehouse, I fight my way through a group of raiders and have a close call with the flamer, getting hit much harder than I expected. Must have crit me or something. After blowing them all to bits for inconveniencing me, I arrive at the concrete treehouse in the middle of a standoff. A Wastelander and her turret are fending off a duo of raiders. I love this because it's actually the kind of thing I hope to see when setting this whole campaign up. It's like this radio that's giving me these random tasks told me about a Wastelander in trouble out here, and they're requesting help or something. Unfortunately, I couldn't save her, but the treehouse was cleared as directed nonetheless. On the way to Tenpenny, I passed through this lovely little town called Andale, where everything just seems fine and dandy. With no medical supplies left, I'm hoping to just coast to Tenpenny, but it's like the game knows what I'm doing and just continues to throw enemies at me. Another close encounter with a couple of raiders, some dogs, a bloatfly, and a scorpion that I decide to avoid. I cannot state how perfect this all is. It really is capturing that tension you get from an extraction shooter as you're desperately trying to get the fuck out with limited supplies and a bag full of loot. Not being one to pass on some good savings, I make a quick stop at Willie's grocer to recoup some food and then finally arrive at Tenpenny Tower. Unfortunately, I did have to pay to enter, but that's okay because my raid was successful. Now with medium quests unlocked, I quickly sell off anything I don't need and head back home. After playing the inventory minigame, I turn in my task and hit level 6. Once I'm done being special, I generate 2 medium tasks. These have an additional objective and a higher quantity requirement tied to whatever the objective is. Looking at my loadout, it's clear that even though I am now succeeding in the waste, I'm constantly right on the verge of having nothing. So I'd say we're on the right track in terms of balance. With new extraction coordinates in hand, I head back out into the wasteland. One of my tasks wants me to slay 7 ants, and I still have to clear the Grey Ditch sewer, so I'm off to cash in that BOGO. This time, I'm gonna just gun these flame spewers down, a quick count to 7, and I'm knee deep in sewer ghouls. They go down without much of a fight now that there's not 20 of them, though the glowing one surprisingly takes a missile to the face like a champ. Again, it's like my quest generator is a radio that said, bro, there's something crazy down in the sewer, you gotta go kill that shit. Love it. There's a scavenger on a nearby bridge chilling with a couple of besties that takes the junk off my hands. I could kill her and take her stash, but that goes against the spirit of this campaign, I think. Approaching that same red rocket from earlier hits me with deja vu, as I encounter the same raider and Talon Company spawn. Channeling Eli Roth, I quickly dispatch both of them. From there, it's a quiet trip back to my extract at H11, another successful raid under my belt. Taking care of the usual housekeeping, I level up after completing my Grey Ditch task and see that my supplies are dipping lower and lower. At least I have some stash value accumulating some interest though. After all these raids, I have a good idea of how things are working, where I can improve them, and what kind of mods I want to add to the mix. One last raid, and I'll start refining the Escape the Wasteland experience further. Looking at my tasks, I have to plant some 44 ammo at Friendship Heights. Being so low on ammo for my guns anyways, it's time to practice my swing. My extract is right next to Megaton this time, so I'm expecting it to be a quick one. A couple of raiders on the highway kindly give me the contents of their pockets, and then I run into some big-ass ants shortly after. Hiding them around for a bit seems to attract the attention of a Talon Company merc, so I let them settle their beef before going in for the merc's belongings. A couple of raiders put some more damage on me, which is unfortunate as I'm really trying to save my 6 stim packs for whatever awaits me at the quest marker. Some asshole tricks me into melee range and then douses me in flames. But hey, now I have a flamer that'll surely come in handy later. From a distance, I instantly recognize this place. I'm just not exactly sure what it's tied to, likely a main quest. Either way, I see a group of raiders having just a lovely afternoon, and I want to join in on the good vibes. I teach 2 of them the importance of grip strength, swing away on their buddy, and finish by vibing all over the last member of this entourage. I relieve their benefactors of all earthly possessions and think about a good place to stash this 44 ammo. Under a bed in a tent feels right. With my extract being right next to Megaton, I simply double back and extracting is a breeze. With this task turned in, I think it's time to retire this character. Nikita did his job alpha testing my extraction campaign, and he even did it within the 7-year agreement, which is of course unheard of. Good job, Nikita. So this whole experience was actually pretty damn fun. So much so that I'm going to move on to the next stage of browsing the black hole of mods and really crafting the experience I want it to be. There's some changes to the rules I want to make, tighten up my generator some more, and start working on the main quest line that leads up to escaping the Wasteland. Nothing too crazy. It's gotta be something I can still easily track manually, but it'll be some fun roleplay and something to aim for during these runs. There's definitely something here and I want to expand upon it to further enjoy, plus coming up with all this nonsense is really fun to me too. It's already got me thinking about playing other Bethesda games similarly, or any looter for that matter. Anyways, I hope it was entertaining and you enjoyed the watch. If you did, be sure to subscribe because we're not done yet. This is only the alpha test and I still want to play me some Fallout 3, so there's definitely more coming. Hit that like button too while you're at it, and yeah, go out there and have a good day or something.